What do you want to do?
Play hide and seek.
Play hide and seek?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready or not, here I come. Wonder where Zeke could be.
Found you.
You found me.
Okay, you hide.
There's no doubt that trying to find a balance with reselling while having kids and working from home is one of the biggest issues that most part-time and full-time resellers struggle with at home. My beautiful wife and I have 2 kids, Asher and Zeke. You saw Zeke in the first clip right there, and it is no doubt that they are my everything. They are the reason that I do reselling, and I'm sure for most of you it's the same thing. You do reselling to give you the freedom to be able to see your kids grow up, to be there for them, to watch them, and to have the freedom to do whatever you want when you want. And so today I'm going to be talking about 5 things that we can do as resellers who have children or just are busy in general to help us overcome the stress, the anxiety, or the frustration sometimes of trying to work from home and having kids. So the first thing I would recommend, these are in no particular order, is to learn a bit of patience. Having children can be very frustrating, especially if you don't know patience, meaning that the young kids don't really operate the same way as us adults do. You know, sometimes, like for me, I'm in focus mode, I'm trying to get my work done, I'm zoned in, I'm taking pictures or whatever, and sometimes Asher or Zeke, my kids, will come into the office, ask me a question, ask me to play, tell me something, and sometimes it's really hard to not want to just push them aside and keep working and say, sorry, I got to get my work done, I'll deal with it later. But I feel it's really important as a parent who's raising my own children to make sure that I'm not prioritizing listing a pair of shoes over my children's needs. Now, I think that there are times that it's very important to make sure that you're getting your work done. There are times where I close my door and my wife tells the kids it's work time for daddy. He can't be distracted right now unless it's an emergency. But for the most part, I usually keep my door office open because I don't want them to ever think that they're not welcome in my office or that I'm too busy for them. And so I think a little bit of patience can go a long way. Spending that extra minute or 2 with them, maybe taking a 30-second break or a 5-minute break from your day of listing if you work from home like me. Now, if you list from a warehouse or a shed or somewhere else, then obviously it may be a little bit different for you. But in my case, I'm at home, my office is connected to my house, and so I think that this is something that's very important, at least for me, to have an open line of communication with my children so that they don't think that I'm ever ignoring them or depriving them of their basic wants and needs. The second thing is understanding. I think that as parents, we have to understand our children's wants and needs. I think we have to understand how old they are. We have to understand the way that their brain works, and they're not really thinking the same way that we do. They don't really process and understand that we are listing and working to make money to give them a better life. They just see daddy or mommy at home working, and they just think that it's, you know, the best thing ever. A lot of kids don't have the luxury of having their parents home all the time. And so for my wife and I, that's obviously part of the life that we chose. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, and I am a full-time reseller. And I also have my real estate license, but I'm not 110% active in that. I still do it, but I'm not working as hard at that as I am my reselling business. And my reselling business is done from home. And so having understanding of your children's age and their brain function and their needs, I think that that goes a long way. Like when my son Asher gets home, if he needs help with his homework, I'm making sure that I'm stopping to do that. Or if I'm in the middle of working and my wife is done cooking dinner for the day or something, I stop work and go into the kitchen and eat dinner with no phone in front of me, and I completely put my focus on them. And I think that having that understanding that there's got to be some type of, you know, mixture when you're working from home to have your kids and be working at the same time. I think that it's okay to maybe get a few extra listings done before they come home from school or after they go to bed, which will be in another topic here in just a minute. but understanding how to find that balance, which is something else that I'm going to talk about, of what they need. And so that's really important. Open lines of communication with my wife, and understanding what days I have to get more work done, what days I'm a little more free, what days I'm outsourcing, what times I'll be home. Those types of things are really important in a marriage or in a relationship where you have children and you work from home. Kind of spoiled some of my next points here, but the next one for me is communication. I have to have an open line of communication with my wife and children about what I do. My son Asher is a little bit more cognitive and understanding of what I do when it comes to reselling, that this is my job, this is how I pay our bills. But Zeke isn't fully there yet, and so he doesn't really realize the amount of time that I'm spending on the business, and so I have to make sure that he doesn't think that I'm ignoring him. So when they come in, and if it's times where I really am locked in and I'm trying to get my work done so that I can make sure I'm ready for dinner or whatever, or the rest of the night off so I can play with them, or we can watch a movie or play a game or something like that, I'm very open with my communication to my children and say, something along the lines of like, hey, daddy's got to get this work done, but in just a little bit I will be finished and then we can play. And then I live up to that promise. I don't just say that and then later I'm on my phone scrolling Instagram, ignoring my children. And so when Asher gets home from school at 2:00, I'm usually working, but I make sure that I stop what I'm doing to say hi when he comes home from school. I give him a big hug. I ask him how his school day was. If he has homework, I make sure that he goes and gets that done. And then from there, we can go about our days. And so having an open line of communication with your children, letting them know when it's time to work, when it's time to play, those are things that a lot of people just don't do. They just get frustrated and then they yell at their children, or they get mad and they say, go away, I'm working, or leave me alone, or not now. And for me, I think that we can all have those times. I'm guilty of them myself. But I've been trying to be a lot better at having that open line of communication with my wife and children about what I'm trying to do and when I'm trying to get it done. My schedule is not like daily refinement. Chris, for example, he is a very structured 9 to 5, 8 to 4 kind of guy with his reselling business. Mine is a little bit more loose and open, depending on what kind of inventory I have. I don't get 1,000 items a week at the flea market like he does. So sometimes I am working in the morning, sometimes I'm working at night, sometimes I'm working in the day, sometimes I'm filming YouTube videos, sometimes I'm making reels, sometimes I'm cleaning shoes. If I'm cleaning shoes, it's a lot easier for me to open my office and just talk to Asher and Zeke if they need something, versus like if I'm in the zone and I'm listing and I'm trying to do item specifics and stuff, I don't want to mess that up. So I have to just say like, hey buddy, give me about 10 minutes and then I'll be done with this listing and I can come help you with your homework or something along those lines. If it's something important, I'll stop what I'm doing, set my phone down so that I don't lose my train of thought, go help them, or if Zeke needs to go potty or something like that, I take him potty and then come back in here. And so I think that having that line of communication with your children and just being honest with them, not treating them like babies and or yelling at them, is the way to handle those situations. The next thing, which I talked about a little bit, just like with Chris, is scheduling. And so for me, I am trying to work on building a little bit more of a reliable weekly schedule with how I run my business. But sometimes the way that reselling is you have an opportunity for a buyout that you weren't expecting, or you see some garage sales on your way home, or you hit the flea market, or you see you get a good deal at a thrift store and you're there longer than expected. Or anything can happen. I mean, it's so unpredictable sometimes, at least for most resellers who aren't able to get inventory in bulk and just have it shipped to their house. If you haven't built those relationships yet, I'm still trying to find some of them myself. But for the most part, I'm getting a lot of my inventory still from thrift stores and flea markets. And so working on my schedule is something I'm trying to be better at. I try to get all my shipping done in the morning, so then that way I can do my listings and my photographs, or cleaning shoes, for example, next. Then from there, I actually do the listings, and then hopefully, at the end of the day, or when my kids get home from school, I have time to be able to spend time with them without feeling like I haven't gotten anything accomplished. Now, again, also with scheduling, there are other things that go into factors, like Whatnot, for example. I sell on Whatnot, but I don't do it the same time every week. Sometimes it's on Tuesdays, sometimes it's on Fridays. It depends on my inventory, and it depends on what's going on with my family. My wife had some stuff going on with her mom that she had to take care of, so I was on dad duty for a couple of days, and that kind of had made me change around my schedule of when I could do my listings and stuff because I was with my kids while my wife was taking care of her mom. And so scheduling can be tough as a reseller, especially if you have kids, but just do the best that you can. There's no reseller that is perfect at this. There's nobody that is the best. There's nobody that gives the all end all be all advice on how to do all this. You have to work with your lifestyle, your schedule. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, like I said earlier, so that gives me a little bit more freedom to do my work versus maybe somebody whose spouse is working a 9 to 5, and since you're the stay-at-home reseller, you've got to pick up the kids from school or something like that. So, you know, scheduling can be tough, but sometimes what can help is to write it down. My wife has a calendar on the refrigerator, and she lets me know of anything that's going on, whether she has play dates with other kids or if she's going to like a mom night or something like that. Like she's actually doing one of those tonight, and one of the other mom's kids is watching all of the kids so the moms can go hang out. So I'll be able to either, you know, get more listings done, upload a YouTube video, edit a reel, or maybe even go play some disc golf. Who knows? I have a little bit of an open schedule because my kids are going to be somewhere else versus me having to watch them tonight. The last tip that I want to share, which kind of brings everything together, is just find a balance with what works for your life. I get people on Instagram that DM me all the time and are asking, you know, I've got kids, I feel like I'm not doing enough on eBay, or I'm depriving my kids, I'm putting them in front of the TV. One person specifically reached out and said like their kids are playing video games and watching TV sometimes between 4 to 8 hours a day because their wife works long hours at their job and he is full-time at home trying to resell, and he feels like he's depriving his kids. And I would say, you know, you got to do what works for you and your children, but I don't think the answer is just giving them a Nintendo Switch or putting on a TV show and then coming into the office. I think that, again, that all comes down to scheduling, communication, understanding, and a little bit of balance here, talking to your wife or your spouse and figuring out what works with your guys' schedules. I wouldn't try to force full-time reselling over your children as a priority. Do what you can when you can, like I said earlier, before school, during school, at night when they're in bed. That's when I'm most productive, is after 9 o'clock usually. Well, 8 o'clock is when my kids go to bed, but if I'm spending any time with my wife or we're just talking or enjoying each other's company or anything like that before I really come in here and start working, I feel like I'm most productive from like 8:30 p.m. to about midnight, 1 in the morning. I can get a lot of listings banged out, and you know, I'm hyper focused because I have no distractions. So find that time that works for you and adjust that and balance it into your lifestyle. You know, for me, I love spending time with my kids. I love playing disc golf, and I love being out in the backyard with them and playing and running around and jumping on the trampoline and stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes those times just helps me breathe and realize that everything's going to be okay, that my life is more important than just listing, that my eBay store is still going to run. I'm not going to be missing out on sales because I did 3 less listings than I was supposed to because I decided to spend an extra 15 minutes jumping on the trampoline with my kids or anything like that. You know, parenting is different for every person, every lifestyle, every situation. If you have a certain amount of money that you're trying to make to pay X amount of bills with your reselling business, you know, set those goals, write them down, and figure out how you can accomplish those throughout the week, throughout the month, with the time that you're given. I think that making sure that we are putting attention to our children and raising them up in the way that they should be, to be good kids, to be good listeners, to pay attention during school, to respect other people, and all of those types of things that, you know, a good child should have instilled in them. You know, those are important. You know, we try to spend dinner together every night when possible, when we're not out doing something or if I'm not outsourcing. we cook at home and then we sit at the table and we eat dinner together and we just enjoy each other's company. I think that those little things can make a huge difference in your kid's life. And as they're growing up, they will remember those things, that you as a parent spent time having dinner with them and not just me coming in here with my plate of food and eating real quick and then getting back to my listings. Those things are so minuscule when it comes to the long-term effects of what those things will have on our children. We are very minimal in the screen time that we give our children because we don't want the screens or the iPads or the Nintendo Switches or the TVs or the Disney Pluses becoming the parents of our children. And so, as fun as it is to watch Bluey or, whatever these shows are, Daniel Tiger, that my kids like watching, I am still the parent. I am still responsible for raising them. It's not PBS Kids' job to raise my children. And so we have to make sure as parents that we're not just getting lost in that, but finding a balance. And again, it's okay if your kids watch TV or play video games or anything like that. Just don't let those things control your children in exchange for listings or for reselling. Find that balance. Find a babysitter or find a caretaker, that can really love your children if that's something that you need. Or just, we don't have mom and dad, my mom and dad, or Danny's mom or dad or anything like that can really just full-time watch our kids. And so, that's something that we are balancing and working together with in our marriage. And so those are things that we do with our kids. That's it, guys. This is a pretty simple video. I hope it helped you. Hope to give you a little bit of understanding, maybe a little bit of encouragement, some positivity. As parents, we all need it. If you are a parent of more than one, or any children, I should say, if you're a parent of any amount of children, whether it be 1, 5, 3, 10, like flip the world, you are doing a good job, and just do the best that you can every day. Don't give up on yourself. Prioritize your children. They are the most important thing in your life. And you won't regret that in the future. You won't have children that rebel. You won't have children that run away from you. You won't have children that think you don't care. Let them know that you love them. Give them words of affirmation. Encourage them. Buy them gifts from time to time. Do special things with them. Take them to McDonald's for a McFlurry. Even if finances are small, you can still reward them with small things. I mean, my kids love going to Dollar Tree. Give them a $5 shopping spree from Dollar Tree, and let them go get anything they want for $5. I mean, 5 things, well, it's $1.25 now, so 4 things for $1.25 at the Dollar Tree, and your kids will be ecstatic, I promise you. There's tons of fun things you can find there, from educational books to coloring books to movies that you can watch together, or toys, or even a snack or a drink or something like that. Like, we don't give our children really soda, and so maybe every once in a while my kid having a Sprite or a Coke, Asher, he loves that reward. And so when they're good, I reward them and let them know that I care about them. Anyway, I hope this video helped you guys. And hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Remember that you are a human and it's okay to be you. Nobody's perfect, no parent is perfect, and we are all riding this journey together. And so thank you guys for watching. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace, money!